How do I usually start the vlogs? With B-roll of printers printing. 5 printers printing. You know it's bad around the technical household when 2 things happen. 1, I'm not in uniform, and 2, I had to break out the Vietnamese drip coffee today because it's a bad morning. I usually don't drink this Vietnamese stuff. Let's see what happens. It's all right, my wife's Vietnamese, I'm allowed. So over here on the Orange, I can't be canceled. How are you gonna cancel me? Over here on the Orangestorm Giga, if you saw the previous vlog, it was basically a non-stop swear fest. Am I trying to torpedo my channel? Maybe. It was a non-stop swear fest about the Infinity Flow S1, the Orangestorm Giga, just problems galore. And it was like the Orangestorm Giga was working so good for so long, and then just one issue crops up, and then it's just this decrescendo of, or this, you know, what's the word for when there's like dominoes falling? I'm looking for a word here. A lot of problems sort of happening all in succession. Put a link to a thesaurus on Amazon in the description below. So what am I doing over here on the Giga? I did not plan on vlogging today, and I feel like I say that in most episodes now. But you can thank my YouTube algorithm for starting to serve me Star Trek clips of Voyager. It's by far and away my favorite of the Star Trek series, because real G's watch Voyager. None of that TNG stuff. Voyager's where it's at. But anyway, I thought, hey, it'd be a cool thing to print a really big version of Star Trek Voyager, the ship in the show, just as an example print. I found a nice model on Maker World that had like multi-part, so I could print it and have a nice look to it. So I threw it over here on the Giga, and you can see where it tried to start doing it. My build plates are irreparably damaged now because the print head, I never meshed it, and I just went for it, and I was intending to stay here and watch the first layer. Completely forgot about it. So while you can't see it, this is a lot of burned up PLA. Back here, this is where it just completely gouged through the plate, completely took off the textured finish. And this is the old nozzle. You might be able to see that, but the tip of the nozzle has been burnished and polished into a beautiful almost brand new look. I thought, well, that can't be good, and I looked, and yeah, the plates have been completely gouged through. So what I did was I swapped out the nozzle. I got a fresh 6 on there, and I'm gonna start it again, but when I came to look, the print head was no longer gouging the surface. It had a few millimeters of clearance. Why is filament not coming in? Is it the Infinity Flow again? And I looked here, and the Infinity Flow had shown blue, and the blue color is when it thinks that, yeah, I'm delivering filament, what about it? Tried to feed it through, and no filament was getting through. So it seems as if there was a nozzle clog. Filament kind of came through, and then at some point here, it was just kind of pushing endlessly to try to force it down, but the nozzle clogged is what's doing it. So there's a chance that the nozzle clog caused the previous issue, although I really don't think so, because there were no signs of that. So I got a fresh nozzle in there. I'm gonna remesh the bed. It kind of leads to one more issue, which is kind of like, oh my God, it's just one thing after the other with this fucking printer to get it back up and running. Hang on. If you remember a previous vlog, also the little tube connector that goes here in the top of the Giga for the tube, that's just kind of a very lightly pressure fit in there from the factory. It's not enough to hold this in place so the Infinity Flow doesn't push its way out. So I got some of those, and I press fit one down in there really hard, and wouldn't you know it, when I go to test to just make sure it's still in there, it's wobbling around like hell. It's not enough pressure to keep it in there. So the solution is, 1, design a custom bracket that sort of locks in, screws in to the Orangestorm Giga head that keeps that tube connector in place to where it cannot be pushed out, or glue it in. And I ain't got the kind of time to go through and design something because there's not really a lot to attach to. Plus, if this fails and I mess up somehow and end up getting glue down inside the print head, which would be a bad thing, I'll just put on the replacement print head because I have a brand new print head. That new print head smell. Spray and pray, man. I'm just gonna put a little dab of glue down in there and then send this inside and leave it alone. Leave it alone for about an hour. I'm not gonna use the, you know what? I can use the activator. Fuck it. What have I got to lose? All right, man, send thoughts and prayers on this one. I got my little press fit connector here. I'm gonna apply the activator, and then I'm gonna put my little dollop of glue down in the hole and hope for the best. All right, that should be sufficient. Smells like grandma's house. It smells like mothballs. And what's that? Naphtha? Is there naphtha in this? If I nailed that and that's, I'm like, I can identify naphtha. Harmful. Do not breathe. Well, yeah. Doesn't say, but we're gonna try it out. So let's go. Dick's out for Harambe on this one. I cannot get this down inside where the filament pulls. I can only touch the edge, and this is very liquidy. It's not very, oh man, this is bad. I should put this on something though. All right, so making me a little utensil here out of filament, something or other. I'm just gonna brush filament in there, and then I'm gonna put this in there. Now this doesn't just kind of fall in. I gotta beat it in, and since I gotta level the bed anyway, it should be okay. I'll just tighten up the screws after the fact, but this might be a bad idea. But I do it for you. I do it for you guys. All right, see if I'm able to like scrape, you know, clean up this bed a little bit. So now every print that I do, I guess I'll come back and let you know if it worked. All right, back in the cut. I hit record and then look at the printer. So you're seeing this with me. Brand new print head, remesh the bed on the Giga. Our time lapse better be recording. It is. So this looks pretty good. Let's take a closer look down here in the business of it. So 0.6 nozzle with a 0.4 layer height, little high. I don't expect like extreme levels of detail, but this is a large print. Seems to be doing okay. Not looking too bad. I mean, a little, oh no, this is supposed to be here, so that's a line. Looking over the print, it's looking pretty good. I did outside, inside on the walls. I knew this would be a big flat print with a very steep overhang. It's like 5% gyroid infill, so it's not a lot of infill because I really wanted to keep this at like 1 kilo-ish. What I have is I have about 1.5 kilos, maybe pushing 2 kilos of that Elegoo gray filament, and I haven't ordered more yet. I wanted to see how this one came out before I did the other half, and there's some other parts of the ship, you know, are in the gray. So I'll order some more of that, but I really wanted to make sure it was gonna come out first. The one thing I can't believe how is this not the first thing you check on? Checking on the Infinity Flow S1, it's working. Because this was the spool that exhausted. I loaded it up with 2 partial spools first. We got a red one here, and we got this spool about to run out, so we need to refill it. Can you imagine if I wouldn't have refilled this and got a failure because of that? I need a handler, man. All right, so let's load up this fresh spoolio. Spoolio. Because this is a big wide print, but it's not very tall. It's only like about this tall. So that's gonna finish up. It's looking good. I'll probably wait for it to finish before I go ahead and put the order in, because you can get that basic gray Elegoo on Amazon. We've got another roll of glow-in-the-dark filament in here, and that's for, well, I just posted it to see how it will do. Roll that bean footage. All right, so yeah, I posted like an hour ago another short. It's a Labubu doll. It's kind of like the big one, but this one's like the smaller version. I did it on the A1 in a glow-in-the-dark filament because I thought it would be kind of a cool sort of thing to put some black lights on it, some UV lights with the reactive filament, the glow-in-the-dark filament. And I think it came out pretty cool. The short's not edited great, but you know, the concept is there. We'll see how it does. And we got our wall shelf number 2 up here, so let's pop this off, head back in the office and see what else we got. So A1's going over here on another GoPro mount because the one that I had snapped. I printed it in PETG too, so I'm just printing one in PLA at 100%. A1's been running overtime. Here's the glow-in-the-dark Labubu that I did. 0.2 layer height, small, didn't scale it up or anything like that. It's just trying to like get it out. And I think that seems to be working. No one's really, well, some people have commented on the quality of these. So maybe if I try to do like another version of this, maybe with that other blue glow-in-the-dark filament, maybe I'll scale it up, make it a little bigger, maybe keep the same layer height. You kind of see some imperfection, but overall, like at a distance, if I keep moving it around, you can't really tell. All right, got a little brim solid bim here to take off. Deburring tool, very handy for these kind of things. Link in the description below. And really, I just wanted this to put here to store my camera lenses. I was thinking too, if I'm gonna do more of these glow-in-the-dark 3D prints. Maybe I'll print some more boom mounts for my slat wall so I can hang these Blacklights on here, because, you know, these aren't really set up to sit in any certain way, so I kind of need them to be, you know, mounted in one spot, because I don't want them like within my eyesight line. I don't want to be like looking at these things. You're not supposed to look at those things. All right, and it is 125% the next day. Lots of printers humming, moving, grooving. Been doing a lot of stuff. Man, I'm almost like into 3D printing or something like that. Let's see what I got going on here. All right, so up here on Cobra 1 and Cobra 2, just some slat wall shelf brackets. I was cleaning out my attic and I found a whole bunch of extra tripods. So I kind of want something, a little more elegant place to put those. I can't really stuff them in a cabinet, so so that's just what I'm doing up there. Super boring print, my favorite kind of print. Over here on the P1P, we got parts galore for the Federation Starship Voyager. That's humming along swimmingly. Got parts over here, crammed a bunch of parts over here onto the P1P. This thing's printing pretty quick, and all said, it should be, I think I measured it out, it's gonna be around 48 inches long, about a 4 foot long model. So yeah, you can actually tell how big that is, right? So that's going over there on the Orangestorm Giga. We took off the upper saucer section of it. We're doing the lower saucer section, and no print issues. We swapped out the nozzle on the print head, and the Infinity Flow S1 is working. Look at that. About to finish out a spool, mate. Can we watch it go live? Got like 2 more rows to go, so by the time I quit yik-yakking, it might be close enough for me to just cut it there. But you can see on this model, go ahead and put the time lapse of the upper saucer section here. I'll put it here, exclusive sneak preview. Probably do, I guess, maybe a dedicated content, I don't know, but this is the lower half, and you might notice that there's no bottom layers, and I did that on purpose because I don't need it. They're gonna glue together. There's pins that go in the model, and so I just did no bottom shell layers because it seems kind of pointless to me to put all those extra layers of filament in the middle. So I'm just gonna stick them together, glue them together. That should be okay. That's what I did with the upper section. Seems fine. It's not like it makes the model any shorter or anything like that. It's just not a solid layer there. So that's what we're doing over here. We're time-lapsing it there with our new GoPro mount. And you might notice down here, I've got an extra special traveler. That's right, it's our long lost and estranged son, the SOVOL SV08. So I was in here working, and you know, I look at the SOVOL and I always say, like, man, I really should like get that thing working right. It's not, it works, it's just like there's some like extrusion issues, and I think that's kind of what it is. I don't think it's a leveling issue. I think it just has to do with extrusion. And when I hooked it all up, I did a gantry leveling, I did a bed remeshing, and I went to load filament, and I noticed when I'm loading it, it's just not really loading. It's going so slow and no filament's coming out of the nozzle. So I adjusted the tension on the extruder, this screw going all the way one way, all the way the other, somewhere in the middle, and it's just not extruding. So I'm thinking maybe I've got a clog in the nozzle or something like that. It's just not able to pull it through. I'm gonna try swapping that out, put a new nozzle on it. If that doesn't work, then I'll take the print head off and do that. I really just want to avoid taking the print head off because leveling this thing is kind of a pain in the ass, because you have to level the gantry and then you have to print like a test print to do your Z offset, and it's just a headache. Like SOVOL SV08, you know, people like them. They're like a Voron base printer, 350 by 350 build plate. I just don't know that it's worth it. I mean, it might have been worth it a year and a half ago whenever it came out, but you know, now you have like Bamboo H2D, which is like 300, I think, squared. You know, Prusa XL, that's a big printer. You know, all these modern printers coming out, they just have auto level, figures it all out for you. Like, I guess there's something to be said for knowing how to do all that kind of stuff. You know, there was something to be said for knowing how to work on your car. And, you know, I've done my own oil changes in some of the cars I've had in the past. But as we go into the future, it's like, yeah, it's handy to have that information. I'm glad I do have that information. But like in the future, will you really need it? Will it really matter if you know it? Like them damn kids today, they don't know how to work on computers, and I just assumed every generation under mine would know how to take apart computers and, you know, work on the components, or, you know, do software configuration, things like that. They don't know any of that stuff because they never needed to learn. It's all done for them. You know, there's no real reason to. So like, same could be said with 3D printers to a degree, I guess. You know, is it really important moving forward that people know how to like manually level a bed with a piece of paper and stuff like that? I don't know. That's up for you to decide. So let's head in the office and see what I got doing in there. So Bamboo A1 over here going on more parts for the Voyager model. You see here, we've got some pieces I did. These are supposed to be orange. I did them in this like orange silk. It came out more yellow than I would like, but a nice sheen to it. You know, this is parts of the ship. It's like their turn signals they have on the ship. Parts here off the P1P earlier. These are one of the few pieces of parts that had to do multicolor. And look how big this damn thing is. This is just the top of the saucer, and you know there's more ship to it. So this will be a quite sizable model. Taking a look here at the print quality, very steep, I want to say internal overhang, or however you call it, when the overhang's on the inside of the model. This is where I have a lot of weakness in the Giga because I don't use enough wall loops or infill, but I widened my, my line width, and this is 3 wall loops with like 5% gyroid. You see it here, like I was saying, I didn't know bottom shell layers, and it came out okay. There are some areas where it's a little gappy, like here, but overall, I mean, they're, you know, spotty, but overall, I think it looks pretty good. And so once we start bolting on the other like multicolored pieces, the model's majority gray. You know, it's a very dull looking model, but you know, it's a Starship. That's what, you know, they're not trying to make this look like your 1992 Civic, man. So I think it's gonna be pretty impressive because, you know, this saucer section, that's pretty cool. Voyager is the most, as I said earlier, the most aesthetically pleasing of all the Federation ships, in my opinion. So anyway, gonna be working on that more. Very excited about that. This is printing pretty quick too. You know, the bottom saucer section's the other big part of the model, and then the aft section here, where like, you know, the shuttle bay and the cells attached to. Am I showing my my nerddom here? Is gonna be pretty impressive. You can like set it here. You know, this is a. This table here is 8 feet long, so you know the bow of the ship there. This is 8 feet long, so I guess this is about halfway. Yeah, that's definitely going to be like a 4-foot model, so that's going to be pretty impressive. The thing I was thinking about too, and I can't help but sort of talk about it because this is the BTS, the behind the scenes, the full meta sort of experience with, you know, what I'm doing here on the channel. Like, I can't help but think it's like I'm losing out to people who are coming around, or at least came around in the beginning to see me you know, print stuff and sell it for money, because people hope to do that themselves. And I watch my other peers because, you know, comparison is the thief of joy, and I don't care. I need to compare. I need to see what other people are doing. I need to see what works. And so I look at some of my other peers, and most of the people I converse regularly with are heavily into the 3D print stuff and sell it sort of space versus just the exhibition kind of thing, which I've been really doing more so lately. I'm a little gaslitty on myself about like, oh, you should be doing more print and sell type stuff because that's what people want to see. But it's like, you know, I've said many times, it's like, I just don't think it's worth it to any degree. I'm not seeing anybody 3D printing and selling anything and making any meaningful money, at least just, well, I mean, you know, of the people that demonstrate that. And I know that there are people out there that do that, and it's meaningful money to, you know, them or most people, but just the amount of time it would take, I couldn't do this, you know. But as I'm making this thing, I can't help but think there's some rich nerds out there that might want a 4-foot Star Trek Voyager model. Now, I know you're not supposed to sell a license. I think you could probably get away with it. Somewhere like eBay or something like that, because this would be no less than $1,000. You know, multicolor, the quality seems great, and if it actually sold, I'd print another one and I'd do it at even finer layer height. But I would think like a 4-foot Voyager model, you know, that's, because I was looking around a little bit, and they sell models of this, but I'm not seeing anything that's like 4 feet long, you know, it's nice and big like that. Additionally, I think you could probably get away with not gluing it together halfway, and you could probably get away with shipping it for a reasonable price too. So I'm interested in that. We'll see how it comes out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Should I even like attempt that or take a stab at that? Because I know when I mentioned selling things that are, you know, officially licensed or, you know, whatever, IP or stuff like that, people just, they got all kinds of opinions about those sort of things. So let me know what you think in the comments. Should I just roll the dice and, you know, kind of go for it and see if I get anything, or no, don't do that. 3D printing and selling $20 things on Etsy and making $2 per and showing me that because that's what I want to do. I'm not gonna do that. I'd much rather sell a $1,000 Starship or just list it and never sell it and try that, going for the bigger rips versus trying to sell a whole bunch of little knick-knack paddywhacks. So that's what I got going on in the 3D print space for today. Let me know what you're working on in the comments below. Be sure to like the video because it's a nice thing to do. And of course, subscribe for more content like this. I'm The Technicals. See you next time.